This man's name is Carlos Tevez. He's a Premier League champion, a Champions League winner, and one of the most dangerous strikers the Premier League's ever seen. He was also part of one of the deadliest trios in football history. So how does a player doing so good end up becoming one of the biggest traitors in Man United's history? See, Carlos Tevez had a problem. Imagine becoming a hero at the biggest club in England, only to betray them for their most hated rival. Not because you failed, but because you felt disrespected. Carlos Tevez wasn't just another Man United player. He was one of the fan favorites. They loved Tevez. He was a warrior on the pitch. He would shoot from any distance, and he really looked like he would fight for the badge. He played with so much passion and intensity. But in 2009, everything exploded. Tevez joined Man United in 2007 from West Ham, and even that transfer saga was very messy. He wasn't fully owned by a club in a traditional sense. His economic rights were tied to outside investors, and this complicated ownership structure, which made a transfer completely a nightmare. But on the pitch, Man United fans didn't care about that at all. During his first 2 seasons, Tevez helped Man United win 2 Premier League titles, the 2008 Champions League, FIFA Club World Cup, and United looked unstoppable on paper. But behind the scenes, tensions were slowly building. See, Tevez wanted more commitment from Sir Alex to keep him in the club long term. And reports claim that Sir Alex would beat around the bush, he would promise him one thing, but never fully committing to it. And then in 2008, Man United signed Dimitar Berbatov from Tottenham Hotspur for over 30 million euros. And Tevez started feeling pushed aside. Even though fans adored him, Berbatov often started the bigger game. He was granted the number 9 shirt, and that message was clear. Now, the final straw for Tevez was not starting in the 2009 Champions League final when Man United lost to Barcelona. He even claims that the reason they lost was because he didn't start the game. He usually kept it to himself, and while he was sitting on the bench, he was contemplating a lot of things. The frustration was slowly starting to grow. He later suggested that he felt like he was lower in the pecking order, where it was Ronaldo, Rooney, Berbatov, and then Tevez. And that mattered for Tevez's personality. I mean, he's extremely competitive. Now, considering Tevez was on loan at Man United, he wanted Sir Alex to finally purchase him, but negotiations kept dragging on, with Sir Alex, the third-party owners, and Carlos Tevez. According to Tevez, Man United waited too long. He publicly said that he was waiting over a year and a half for clarity from Man United and Sir Alex. I mean, you would think after winning all those titles, Man United would be rushing to keep a player like that. And of course, over time, the relationship with Man United and Tevez was slowly becoming toxic. Reports at the time reported major disagreements over the transfer fees, ownership rights, and the wages. At that point, nobody trusted each other anymore. As soon as that trust was broken, Carlos Tevez began feeling like Sir Alex actually didn't even want him. He also later complained publicly that Sir Alex barely communicated with him, and for Tevez, that silence felt personal. Can you imagine if big egos like Cristiano Ronaldo or Wayne Rooney were waiting for a new contract and Sir Alex wasn't offering it to them? I think they would react the same way. Now, the United fans desperately wanted Tevez to stay. He was a cult hero for the club. United supporters literally held signs begging Ferguson to sign him permanently, but even that couldn't stop what was coming. Now, considering he just won those titles with Man United, Carlos Tevez was ready to sign a new contract, give Sir Alex a big hug, win some more titles, and cement himself as a legend of the club. However, that's not quite what happened. See, while Man United was struggling with contract negotiations and they were being unsure about Carlos Tevez, their direct rivals Man City saw a huge opportunity. Man City had just been taken ownership by a wealthy Abu Dhabi owner, and they wanted to shock the football world. They signed Sergio Aguero, David Silva, and they were even about to sign Kaká. It seemed like their main mission was to beat Man United's dominance, and stealing Carlos Tevez would have sent the biggest message to the club. So, City came pouncing. City offered Tevez more money and a central role in their new project. They were going to make him one of the main men in the club, someone undisputed and greatly appreciated. At City, he would have become one of the faces of the revolution, whereas at United, he felt replaceable. And then in 2009, it officially happened. Carlos Tevez officially joins Manchester City from Man United. The Man United fans were stunned, and they felt very betrayed by him, including myself. But just when things were getting bad for Man United, they got even worse. The club unveiled one of the most infamous billboards in football history. They put out a billboard of Tevez saying, "Welcome to Manchester," and that rubbed every Man United fan the wrong way. It was a direct shot at Man United, and the football world went crazy. I feel like the Premier League back then was a lot funner than it is now. You just don't see things like that now. Sir Alex was furious. At one point, Ferguson openly criticized the financial demands behind that deal. He even suggested that the total cost of ownership for Tevez was way too high. But no matter what he says, at that point, it was too late. Now, normally in situations like this, it's strictly business with no hard feelings. But with this transfer, it was a little personal. When Tevez made it over to Man City, he held a sign up that says RIP Fergie, and that was the final straw for for every United fan. That's where they drew the line. Since then, everyone labeled him as a traitor and being completely disrespectful to the club. I personally didn't think Tevez would do such a thing, but he found it totally hilarious. Now the crazy part is, the move actually worked for Tevez. Tevez became one of Man City's most important players during the early years of the takeover. He helped City win the FA Cup and then eventually win the Premier League in 2012, the title that changed everything for Man City. That was the infamous Aguero moment that you all know about. Man City were no longer the noisy neighbors. They were officially the champions at that point. Now deep down, the whole story could have been avoided. Both sides trusted each other and communication was better. Tevez would have stayed at United. Maybe Man City wouldn't have won the Premier League. One of Old Trafford's favorite warriors became one of football's greatest traitors. Do you think Tevez was justified for leaving, or was this an ultimate betrayal in Premier League history? Let me know in the comments down below. Now in August of 2010, Man City even made Carlos Tevez the captain of the club, and that was a choice by coach Roberto Mancini. However, he may have regretted that decision because Tevez ended up scoring only 4 goals that season, and that was because he missed a huge chunk of the season after having a public fallout with Roberto Mancini during a Champions League match against Bayern Munich. He was suspended for months before eventually coming back and returning late for the title. A lot of people mistakenly think that he scored a lot of goals during his first season at the club because he was such a major figure in Man City's rise, but really his biggest scoring season at City was actually in 2010-2011, a year after winning the Premier League and shared the Golden Boot. Do you guys think Tevez made the right choice going to Man City? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, I personally hated it as a Man United fan. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I'm a Man United fan. If you guys watch most of my videos, I disclose it publicly, and I'm wearing the jersey too. I want to thank you all for watching my video. I read all your comments, I read all your criticism, all your feedback. When I see comments of you guys encouraging me to make more videos, telling me that you like what you watch, that means everything to me. I enjoy making these videos, and I'm glad you guys enjoy watching them. A lot more will be coming. Let me know what video you guys want to see next. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you in the next one.